Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm on my way to LaGuardia Airport for a flight to Orlando, and I'm super excited, and you're gonna join me today. Let's go. All right, I'm back at LaGuardia Airport, and I'm all ready to go right to TSA. Let's go, everybody. Today, my destination is Orlando MCO, and I'm excited about going from the land side to the air side here at Terminal C. My pre-departure goals are to examine today's operation and eat. There's literally nobody in front of me today. It's pretty rare. All right, I'm done with TSA. That was one of the quickest TSAs I've ever experienced, and things are getting brighter in front of me because I'm approaching the window. The window. I'm so glad to be back here where I can see that runway 22 is the arrival runway and runway 13 is the departure runway today. It's a typical runway configuration for a summer day. Today my gate is 88 Alpha, but I'm walking over to a different part of the airport so I can get a little bit of food to eat. I am seated in the Comfort Plus section today. I get a few snacks, but I want to get something a little bit more significant prior to departure. It's my routine here at LaGuardia Airport. Today I'm going to eat some pizza, but even while eating, I'm looking for the runway 13 climb view. This Southwest 737 is on the Whitestone climb today. Will my flight also use this climb? Well, first the plane has to get here, and I was able to see my A321 on final for 2-2 through another set of windows. That's Delta 2460. Don't forget to check out all my videos of that flight. I've been on that flight quite a few times. Now, to catch my flight, I have no reason to head to the western part of Terminal C, but I'm going there so I can experience an amazing space in the terminal. All right, everybody, I've got the sun over my head because I'm in the greatest spot at LaGuardia Airport, the outdoor deck here at the C terminal. Behind me, I can see a cluster of aircraft out there. There's a lot going on here at LaGuardia. When you see American and Southwest aircraft like we see out there on this side of the airport when runways 13 and 22 are in use, you know that the airport's busy. Right over there is the Airbus A321 that I'll be boarding soon to get to Orlando. I can't wait to be on board. It's taking a really long time for my plane to get to the gate. Remember, I filmed it landing when I was inside the terminal in a different spot, and now it's only getting to Terminal C now. This is the best place to wait before your flight at LaGuardia. It's very special that the airport is doing this for everyone. It's between the 60s and 70s gates. In recent years, only those who were able to get into airline lounges could experience outdoor decks, but this is designed for everyone. By the way, it's winter now, and I tried to go to this spot a few weeks ago, and it was closed. Can you say disappointing? Don't you just love the sounds out here? Got aircraft departing as well as an aircraft starting up. If you're at LaGuardia, you gotta come to this spot. That was neat, but it's time to head to my gate. Okay, I'm headed down the escalator in the 80s gates. Today my gate is 88 Alpha. I've been to that gate before. This is a great space, but over there I see an American 737 on the Whitestone climb. Gotta love the big windows here. Am I the only one who's inside and focusing on the outside? I've arrived at gate 88 Alpha. Today's call sign is Delta 2561, and you'll be listening to ATC Communications once we leave. And here's my plane. It first flew in 2018. And of course, I'm noticing all the window shades are down. My window shade is going up as soon as I get aboard. Okay, my gate's back over there, but I'm going to take a walk to the very end to check out the operation, see what the lineup is like now. Okay, I'm at the end of the concourse here, and behind me is Taxiway Alpha and Bravo. The lineup does not look bad at all. Well, I actually don't see a lineup, so that's a good thing. Maybe we'll get right out. It was pretty bad before. It's quiet out there. By the way, notice how this is gate 89 Alpha and I'm leaving from gate 88 Alpha? Why the alphanumeric gate designations? Well, each concourse is labeled for the gate numbers in tens, so since there's more than 10 gates in the 80s concourse, some numbers repeat. So they use A's and B's after some gates. This concourse has 12 gates total. Let's get on board. All right, we're getting closer to runway 13. Here's the view from the now open window shade of this A321. Here from gate 88 Alpha, we're looking south. Most of the action is on the other side of the plane, but I'm looking out to see if there's anyone on the Whitestone climb or any overhead traffic. I don't see anything. My seat is on the left-hand side of the plane because, as usual, I'm hoping for a climb off of runway 13 that will eventually take us to the north via left turns before heading south with Manhattan hopefully on this side of the plane. Both the Whitestone and tennis climbs can allow for this. This flight is fully boarded, and the gate agent has moved the gate 88 Alpha jet bridge away from the closed boarding door. We're all set to go, and the terminal ramp seat controller is allowing us to push back onto the ramp between the 80s and 90s gates. We're on time, and all I keep thinking about is which one of the multiple possible climbs will we perform off of runway 13. The first, the tennis climb, climbs us straight out, followed by a left turn to the northeast, followed by radar vectors to the left. The Whitestone climb is similar, as it leads to the northeast before radar vectors to the left, but starts off with a sharp turn to the right to the south upon liftoff. There's also the Goldman departure, which can have us turn right over Queens, then further to the right to the northwest, followed by radar vectors, but that puts us right over Manhattan. Then there's the dreaded Nathan's departure, which has us fly south after takeoff, followed by a left turn near JFK and out over the ocean for the whole flight. But that would really only happen if our initial fix was ship, and I'm expecting that our initial fix will be white today. Out in the distance, I can see a plane on short final for runway 22, and down below, the ramp team heads back to the terminal as the tug has been removed so we can start our engines. We can now call ground control to find out which taxiways we'll take to get to runway 13.
Ground Delta 2561, 17 Alpha taxi.
Delta 2561, LaGuardia ground, runway 13, taxi via Alpha, November, Bravo, short of Lima.
Alpha November, Bravo, short of Lima to runway 13 for Delta 2561.
We checked in with ground control at spot 17 Alpha, which is the position we're leaving now as we leave the Delta ramp. We're told to taxi to runway 13 via taxiways Alpha, November, and Bravo, and we need to hold short of taxiway Lima. Alpha is the next left, and at November, we'll turn right on the very short taxiway and make a left on Bravo. Once we approach Lima, we need to come to a stop and wait for further instructions from the ground controller. Ideally, we would want taxi instructions to go all the way up to and hold short of runway 22, but this is LaGuardia, and there are planes all over, and at Lima, the controller will likely have an aircraft pass in front of us. Each time my Delta flights leave the Delta ramp, we get different taxi instructions based not just on the runway configuration, but the actual traffic on the ground at the time of pushback. Zooming in, I can see where we need to wind up. That fast-moving plane is taking off on runway 13. We need to travel nearly the full length of the runway to get there so we can enter it at the beginning. See that A321 pulling into the Delta gates between the 70s and 80s? It's entering the ramp from taxiway Alpha before November, so this could be the reason why the controller had us transition from Alpha to Bravo in November. This allowed for a seamless transition, but it probably wasn't necessary since that plane got to the ramp while we were still on the ramp. As we enter the taxiway system, we can see a Southwest 737 that just left Terminal B about to join the queue of planes waiting to cross runway 22 as an arrival rolls out on runway 22. We're now in Alpha and are making the quick turn onto November. November is one of the shortest taxiways at LaGuardia, as it solely serves as a link between parallel taxiways Alpha and Bravo. Alpha is the inner taxiway and Bravo is the outer taxiway. As we turn onto Bravo, I zoom in and we can see the planes waiting to cross runway 22. That's the last opportunity to see what's ahead, and based upon what I saw, we're going to have to wait a little bit before we cross runway 22 to get to the other side. For now, I'll take in the view of Terminal C. On the right side of the screen are what appears to be 3 large windows, but it's actually the outdoor deck that I had just visited prior to boarding. Here you can see how it's between the 70s and 60s gates. We're now holding short of taxiway Lima as instructed by ground control. I can't see what's ahead, but we weren't there for very long.
Delta 2561, go to Golf. Bravo Golf and hold short of 22.
Bravo Golf short of 22, Delta 2561.
The controller came back to us and provided instructions for us to move. We can now continue on taxiway Bravo and then turn right on Golf and hold short of runway 22. This is very good news for us. First, we've been cleared to taxi all the way up to the hold short bar for runway 22, but even better, we're doing this on taxiway Golf. This is good because the cluster of planes that we saw waiting to cross runway 22 appear to have been set up to cross runway 22 on taxiway Papa, which is what Bravo leads straight into before Bravo bends to the left. We'll continue on Bravo's bend to the left, but we'll make the first right turn on taxiway Golf and go up to and hold short of runway 22. This essentially goes around the cluster of airplanes on Papa and brings us to the front of the line to cross the runway. All the other planes will be off to our right side. So why us? Why are we so lucky today? The other planes have different departure fixes, and their fixes are just not ready yet to accept them. So even though they left their gates before we did, we can take off earlier. Our departure fix is white to the south, and it's ready and open to accept us. This is great news. Once we get to runway 22 at taxiway Golf, we wait for a gap in arrivals to the runway. We aren't clear to cross the runway behind this American Eagle Embraer because there's another plane on really short final behind him. It's a Delta CRJ-900. As soon as the CRJ-900 passes in front of us, the tower will have us cross runway 22 while indicating that the next arrival is 4 miles out. That's plenty of room.
So 2561 traffic's 4 out, cross runway 22 at Golf, all the way up, you monitor tower on the other side.
22 at Golf, all the way up, monitor tower, Delta 2561.
Stop.
Wow. Did you hear what the controller said? He said all the way up and monitor the tower on the other side. That means we can go directly to the runway, and once we're on the other side of runway 22, we can monitor the local controller's frequency. The local controller is responsible for issuing us takeoff clearance. As we head to the runway, notice that there are other planes that we'll pass by and we get in front of. These planes are just being staged in their positions because they can't take off yet. For us, we can go directly onto the runway now without stopping.
Delta 2561, LaGuardia Tower, A13, line of police, traffic lane 22. Line of 13, Delta 2561.
All 7,000 feet of runway 13 are ours. We just need to focus on the intersection, and on short final is a United 737. Once that United 737 passes in front of us, we'll get takeoff clearance. In the next transmission cluster, the tower is about to give us takeoff clearance, but an Endeavour Air flight checks in. We're still given takeoff clearance with additional traffic 2.5 miles out. The next plane behind us, Southwest, is told to line up behind us. Then Endeavour gets landing clearance, and the United plane that just landed is told to clear runway 22 and contact ground.
Tower Endeavour 5212 on the base, runway 22 visual.
Delta 2561, A13, wind 190, 10, clear for takeoff, traffic 2.5 out, 22. 3, clear for takeoff, Delta 2561. Southwest 2913, LaGuardia Tower, A13, line of police, traffic lane 22.
Point 130, Southwest 2913.
Endeavour 5212, LaGuardia Tower, runway 22, wind 190, 10, clear to land, traffic 14 parts, A13.
Clear land 22, Endeavour 5212.
202, left Yankee, left Bravo, ground point 7, see you.
Yankee Bravo, point 7 for 2, see you.
If you look out there, you can see the landing lights of the plane on the final approach course to runway 22. We've cleared the intersection so that plane can safely land on runway 22. Once that plane lands, the Southwest plane behind us will get takeoff clearance. In a moment, we'll know what climb we're about to fly. But first, now that we're airborne, the tower hands us off to the departure controller in Westbury, New York. The Westbury, New York facility handles flights all over the New York City area. The frequency that we're going to switch to is specifically designed for LaGuardia departures, as well as aircraft that are passing through the particular airspace.
Delta 2561, contact Clark, see you. Good day, Delta 2561.
In a moment, our pilot will check in with the controller with the altitude that we're climbing out of and our climb procedure. It's looking like the tennis departure procedure so far, since we're not turning right for the Whitestone climb.
Archer Delta 2561, out of 1800, climbing tennis 6.
Delta 2561, near departure radar contact, I maintain 12000.
I maintain 12000, Delta 2561.
Okay, we're on the tennis climb, which calls for this left-hand turn right now to 50 degrees. We're headed to a fix called Jutes, which is located over Little Neck Bay, just off the end of Cove Lane, which is off of West Shore Road in Kings Point. The controller is having us climb to 12,000 feet, which is the max allowed altitude in his airspace for flights headed to the White intersection. 12,000 feet is 1,000 feet below arrivals to JFK from the west that are flying over New York City. I'm happy about this climb because it keeps us lower over Queens and the Bronx than the Whitestone climb, where we would have gained altitude by heading to the south, then northeast. Here in the tennis climb, once we reach Jutes, we fly a heading of 39 degrees to a fix called Tennis, the namesake of this climb. Tennis is located over Long Island Sound, just north of Sterling Lane and Sands Point. I've never experienced going that far out. We always get a radar vector in the vicinity of Jutes. I'm looking forward to a left turn soon. In the meantime, a heavy 767 needs to transition our airspace. It's United Flight 110 at 6,000 feet. It took off from Newark and is bound for London Heathrow and needs to pass through this airspace.
United 110 heavy, leveling 6,000.
United 110 heavy, near departure, I maintain 10,000, turn right heading 080.
10,000 heading 080, United 110 heavy.
It's now time for us to get a radar vector in the vicinity of Jutes.
Delta 2561, turn left heading 310.
Left turn 310 to 2561.
We're turning wide today and are given a turn to the northwest. This turn is nearly at a right angle. Remember that Southwest plane that went onto the runway behind us? He's airborne and is about to check in on the tennis climb.
First stop is 2913, 1,700, climb via the tennis. Southwest 2913, near departure radar contact, I maintain 8,000. Come maintain 8,000, Southwest 2913.
Southwest 2913 is only given 8,000 feet as an assigned altitude, so he doesn't conflict with United 110, who will likely be around 9,000 feet as they get closer to each other. We're in our left turn over Long Island Sound looking at City Island in the Bronx. Behind it is the mainland Bronx, and way in the distance we can see the Hudson River with New Jersey on the other side. It's a hot summer day, and the hazy sky conditions are typical for this time of the year. I'm grateful for our wide vectoring today. Sometimes we'll get a quick turn to 270 degrees, keeping us too close to LaGuardia, and when that happens, our next left turn to the southwest is often over Queens, keeping Manhattan on the right side of the plane. My seat is on the left side for a reason. You'll see why soon. Today, we're going to keep the 310-degree heading for a long time. Why? Well, it depends on how much demand there is going down to the White intersection in New Jersey. White handles all flights that are headed southbound from multiple airports. This includes LaGuardia, Newark, and Westchester. So if many aircraft are in the air now and have White in their flight plan, the controller needs to work out a way to keep them well separated. I don't know what White-bound aircraft might have left Newark, say, a minute before us, but it could be that the plane is not too far from us right now, so the solution is to keep us flying to the northwest. We'll keep the northwest heading across the entire width of the Bronx, which we're looking at down below. We can also make out Manhattan up against the Hudson River. Things are looking pretty good for our anticipated left turn to the south. This is why I'm seated on the left side of the plane. I want to see as close as possible Manhattan from the air, and right now we can see the entire island from Spuyten Duyvil to the Battery. A full Manhattan view is rare, and I'm taking it all in as we wait for the left turn to the southwest as a radar vector towards White. Well, we're about to cross the Hudson River now, and here comes the turn from departure control.
Delta 2561, turn left, heading 230.
320, heading Delta 2561.
Delta 2561, just confirm left turn 230.
230, heading Delta 2561, left turn. Thanks.
Thank you.
The controller told us to turn left at 230 degrees, which is southwest, but the pilot read back 320. So the attentive controller asked the pilot to confirm he understood 230. The pilot read back 230 correctly this time as we make the turn to 230. The turn to 230 degrees will end over New Jersey and is a perfect heading to view Manhattan from where we are at a bit of a distance so that we can see it all. Here we can see nearly all of the Bronx, the borough we just crossed, and what a view of the Hudson River with the George Washington Bridge crossing it. Our high altitude gives us a great vantage point for seeing how the northern reaches of New York City are bordered by the water. Things are starting to look good now as the sun is on the other side of the aircraft, illuminating all the buildings below. We're still talking to the same controller since takeoff, but in a few short moments, he'll hand us off to a second New York departure controller since we'll have a while to go in the New York City airspace. The next sector handles aircraft up to 17,000 feet.
Delta 2561, turn left, heading 210, contact departure 124.75.
2475, 210, heading Delta 2561.
Let's focus on arrivals to runway 22. Since we turned wide and are over New Jersey, I'm focused on non-runway 22 arrivals at this point. As I took in this stunning view of Manhattan, I spotted an American 737 flying northbound up the Hudson on a right downwind leg for runway 22. We received a slight turn, and the next controller will eventually have us proceed to White, but I don't have the ATC audio for that here. Today, the clouds are in a perfect place so that we can see Manhattan. However, much of Queens and Brooklyn are obscured by the clouds. Our vantage point allows us to easily see the New York City grid system. Here, you can see the path that we took out of the New York City area on the seat back map. It's pretty evident how our positions provided good views of the Bronx and Manhattan today. We're now in the en route phase of flight, and I'm looking out the window as we fly down the Jersey Shore. Once at our cruising altitude, I had an excellent view of Atlantic City. Just south of that is Townsend's Inlet and Avalon, New Jersey, and at the southern tip of New Jersey, I spotted Wildwood. We're now over Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and I was treated to a JetBlue A321 flying northbound from Norfolk to Boston. Next up, Langley Air Force Base and Newport News, Virginia. Up there is an Air France 777 from Raleigh to Paris, and down there is a Breeze A220 from Raleigh to New Haven. That was followed by a nice view of White Lake, North Carolina. In a moment, we're going to start the water portion of our route, but that doesn't mean there's nothing to see. Just look up. Passing above us is a Thomson Dreamliner flying from Cancun, Mexico to London's Gatwick Airport. While over the ocean, we needed to make some turns for spacing. Orlando is quite busy tonight. I like flying around over the water as it breaks up the monotony of straight flight, and it indicates to me that we're part of a system of aircraft that are headed to where we're going. With a turn like this, I know there are many flights that are bound to Orlando. We've now started on down to Orlando and are making landfall on the east coast of Florida. We're following the published arrival procedure, and eventually Orlando Approach Control will give us clearance for the approach. Today, we'll be landing on runway 17 left, the easternmost runway of the airport's 4 parallel runways that run north-south.
On the flight deck, welcome to Orlando. We're about a half hour early, and they've had some weather just to the north of the airport, so our ramp has been on and off, closing and opening, and they're currently open, but there's about 3 airplanes ahead of us to park, so they're telling us maybe at least 10-minute delay here. Stay parked here, feel free to use the restroom if you need to. Try not to form any lines to stand around or anything, but otherwise, please stay in your seat with your seatbelt securely fastened. I'll make an announcement again before we move. Thanks.
All right, I'm off of the plane here at MCL. All right, I'm now in the terminal here at MCL. It's 9 o'clock at night. We waited about 30 minutes for the gate. and we are exactly on time, and it is a bustling place at this time of night. It's always crowded here. All right, everybody, I'm going to end the video here on the train to the baggage claim area here at MCO. Thank you so much for joining me on the flight from LaGuardia. It was a great departure, and I'm really excited about that wide turn that we took after taking off on runway 13. I'm telling you, those controllers basically provide views these days that don't happen with these tight turns. It was awesome. Remember that if you're not a subscriber to my channel, I invite you to click on the subscribe button below, hit the bell button, and I'll be back with many more videos just like this.